We're going to start out with Justin Wilkinson, who writes, "Hey y'all, have you heard any news on the Dark Crystal prequel that was announced a couple years back?"
Okay, so first of all, Dark Crystal is awesome. It honestly, aside from Star Wars, which completely defined not only my childhood but my life. I know that's kind of sad, but Dark Crystal was, to me as a kid, I mean, the Skeksis were the scariest things I had ever seen at the time. Those crab, black-shelled creatures, the Gelflings. I mean, what were the little, what did they call the little creatures that they sucked the life essence out of? They always reminded me of the dozers on Fraggle Rock. But whatever the little ones where they'd suck the energy out of them, and the Chamberlain, and everything about the Dark Crystal is so awesome. So a number of years ago, for those of you who didn't know, it came out that Jim Henson was trying to develop a sequel, and it was going to be called, I believe, The Power of the Dark Crystal. And it was going to take place a couple of hundred years after the events of the Dark Crystal, and I think the female Gelfling's name was Jaina. I think that was her name, the one who had the little Fezgeg, the dog. So anyway, and they showed pictures, some concept art of her. She was like this massively old ancient empress of the whole realm, and something goes wrong, whatever. And all of us were so excited. And then we heard about delays, and then we heard about more delays. Then we heard they decided they didn't like the script, and that was a couple of years ago. I have heard nothing on the development of another Dark Crystal movie since. And I think honestly, other than another Incredibles movie, the movie I want a sequel to the most is probably the Dark Crystal. I think there's so much story there to tell. It's such an amazing world. And the mythology of the crystal itself is so great, but I have heard nothing about it. Anyway, what do you guys think?
I love the Dark Crystal. I actually rewatched it on the Blu-ray like a couple months ago. I think I don't know who you're talking about, but I know the good guys were the Mystics. You know, like the good ones
and the
that were
Skeksis.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel as well, or a prequel, but I don't know how well it would do in today's climate. You know, because you have to go puppets with it. You know, you can't.
Oh yeah.
You can't do this any other way. But in today's climate, kids are all about the 3D animation, and it was kind of, dark for a, kids thing. I was scared as well as those Skeksis.
But it worked.
It did work, but I kind of had some nightmares of those like bony, like crazy Skeksis. But yeah, I don't.
You just described some of my ex-girlfriends, but anyway.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay, Erin?
I actually haven't seen the Dark Crystal, but I know that there was.
What?
I know. You
Outrageous!
Almost spilled coffee
I almost
everywhere,
spit
John.
coffee all over the place.
I'm sorry for that surprise. But there was a prequel in the works that was announced last year, and I know it was probably novel-based, but it's definitely something they can draw from
what
to
that
create.
was Henson put out this call to fans because they wanted a prequel novel.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of, okay, that's cool, but I want a movie. And then I didn't even hear what happened after that either. That just kind of fell off the cliff too.
There's been no additional announcements since that, and I think it was about 6 months ago when that whole thing happened, so there's nothing new there, but I mean, if they do ever move forward in that area, we could get a movie based off of the prequel.
I still remember watching the first Dark Crystal, and the first time, I can't remember the exact circumstances, but one of the Skeksis fell into the fire, and then the camera cut to the Mystics walking, and the one Mystic suddenly burst into flames. And I'm like a little kid, I'm like, what? Wait, Mom, what the hell was that? What just happened? It blew my mind as a kid, but anyway.
Oh, I got to see this movie.
It's so good!
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.